Described as high, wide, and handsome. There's plenty of room here for a 23,500 square mile U.S. Air Force base that contains 200 concrete silos housing intercontinental ballistic missiles. Welcome to Montana, the 41st state, which joined the Union on November 8, 1889. With 945,000 residents, it ranks 44th in population. Montana is the fourth largest state and territory with 145,000 square miles. But it's third smallest in population density, with just 6 people for each of those square miles. Its official nickname is the Treasure State, but everyone knows it as Big Sky Country.
I'd have to say they call Montana Big Sky Country just because it's so wide open and you can look and sometimes you feel like you can see forever and the sky goes on and on.
You ride your motorcycle through it and it's like being on a horse 100 years ago in the western part of the United States. It's just, you're out there by yourself.
If you like thrills, however, the place to be in July is the town of Butte, home of a celebration called Knievel Days. Each summer, more than 50,000 spectators gather to witness 3 days of death-defying motorcycle stunts. The event was started by a legendary homegrown daredevil, Evel Knievel.
Evel Knievel is a big folk hero in Montana, and we don't have very many icons from Montana, so the ones you have, you really have to support.
But motorcycles may not be the only things you'll see flying through the air. Montana is one of North America's most active locations for UFO sightings.
Montana is supposedly the UFO capital of the United States. In fact, the first UFO sighting that appeared on motion picture film occurred in Great Falls, Montana in August of 1950. And that sighting really did engender the whole UFO controversy of the 1950s and 1960s.
I think a lot of people say they see UFOs because the elevation just creates a lack of oxygen.
In truth, 60% of Montana is covered by the Great Plains, even though the state's name is derived from the Spanish word for mountainous. It was the treasure within these mountains that attracted early settlers.
By the early 1860s, gold had been discovered in a little mining camp called Bannock in southwestern Montana, and that brought hundreds of men and women to the area.
Cattle ranchers to the east saw a golden opportunity. The miners needed food, and the vast grasslands of the Montana Territory were public domain. The gold has since run out, but the cattle industry has not only endured, it's gone high-tech. The Northern Livestock Video Auction has been a boon for both cattle buyers and sellers. Auctions are broadcast via satellite at the Billings Livestock Commission's headquarters in Billings, Montana.
What we do is we video the cattle in the country, and then they show the tapes in here, and it's broadcast all over the country, so you can buy over the phone.
This innovative approach to cattle ranching helps contribute more than $800 million to the state's economy. The Montana Plains, where today cattle roam, were once home to a race of giants, the dinosaurs. The first dinosaur fossil found in the Western Hemisphere was discovered in Montana in 1855 by a geologist named Ferdinand Hayden. Since then, the state has provided a treasure trove of fossils for professional paleontologists and amateur collectors alike.
This was one that I just found on my parents' property, but they're quite common. You can find them all over.
The eastern 2/3 of the state produces dinosaurs. We find literally thousands of them. We have their babies, we have their eggs, we have juveniles, we have adults.
By far, the most important discovery was made in the year 2000, a T-Rex specimen with echoes of Jurassic Park. It was dubbed B-Rex after the man who found it, Bob Harmon.
Well, I knew it was something special because it was a Tyrannosaurus foot bone. Probably 40% of the rest of the animal was there, legs and arms.
In the bones of Tyrannosaurus rex, we found soft tissue. We found the remnants of red blood cells, and in fact, we expect one day to get DNA out of this dinosaur. I wouldn't go so far as to say that we can do what they did in Jurassic Park, but the B-Rex specimen is definitely giving us more information than any other dinosaur ever has.
The first record of human population in what is today Montana dates back around 10,000 years. Later, bountiful food and game made this a rich homeland for the Cheyenne, Crow, and several other native tribes. But ultimately, encroachment by white settlers and the troops that defended them led to one of the most significant battles in the development of the American West.
The Battle of Little Bighorn really signaled the end of the Indian way of life in Montana.
It's remembered as Custer's Last Stand. On June 25, 1876, Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer and the 7th Cavalry were trapped and wiped out by a much larger native force, led by the legendary warriors Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. The Indians won that day, but the reprisals would be swift and harsh.
The people back east were shocked and appalled that Custer could be killed by what they felt were a handful of savage people in Montana. And the repercussions were that the military became extremely aggressive, and they started attacking the Indian tribes with a lot more vigor than they had before and forcing them back onto the reservations. And so even though the Indians won the battle, the military made sure that they lost the war.
To me, not only as a park ranger here and also as a Crow tribal member, this place is, sacred land.
Most Montanans would agree. In the words of local cowboy poet Mike Logan, living in Montana is like spending every day in heaven.